remember my earliest memory is I remember being in the grocery store. This was around Thanksgiving, and we were doing some shopping for the holidays. And in this particular moment, we were standing in the checkout line, and I just so happened as a 5-year-old to look around, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing big old booties, big old thighs, just bigness, big old guts just hanging over the pants, people looking like they barely moving. And I mean, not everybody was elderly. And it shocked me so much that I would even recognize this as a 5-year-old. And I said to my mom, I was thinking it, I was bold enough to ask her, because people know I'm bold enough to ask questions because it's just curiosity. You want to understand why is this happening? And I asked my mom, because parents always know the right answer. And I said, Mom, why is everybody so huge? And I wanted to be careful with my words because my mom fit into that category. So I said, Mom, when I become an adult, does it mean that I'm going to look like everybody else? Like, am I going to be big like everybody else? Again, carefully tiptoeing with my words. She kind of laughed it off and she was like, girl, like, don't worry about that. Like, no, you're not going to be like that. So she gave me this reassurance that I was not going to be like that. But then she took it another step and said, you're not going to be like that. What you have on you, because mine at 5 years old, I was a little chunky. I mean, my belly had already started hanging over my pants. Booty starting to get a little big, thighs starting to get a little big, but I was a little version of what I saw around me. And she says, Lee, that's what she called me, Lee, what you have is baby fat. When you get older, it's going to go away. It does it for everybody. And so even though she gave me this answer that was supposed to satisfy this curiosity that I was feeling, and like almost like this heart aching feeling and disgusted feeling that I had, I knew that it didn't make sense, because if it was going to go away, then why were all of these people around me still huge? Like, did it go away and come back? Why was it still there for them? So anyway, we ended up going to the house, and everybody started cooking. The food was done. We eat as a family. Thanksgiving and Christmas were some of the most memorable times of my life. We used to go around and share and all kinds of stuff, but it just created such warm memories for me. It was a big deal. I mean, my grandma would make batches of chocolate chip cookies. I remember one Christmas, we literally ate fresh, homemade chocolate chip cookies until we literally passed out. I remember waking up on Christmas Day with a piece of chocolate chip cookie just kind of hanging on my mouth, because it was good. It was so good. It was so good. Even though your stomach was saying, I'm so full, you could not stop. It was something that was overriding that message to my brain to stop eating. What was that? So I just remember the dinner was served, and I tore up that dinner. I cleared my plate, and probably I was probably one of the fastest ones to clear their plate, and then going up for seconds, then thirds, then fourths. And I'm a little kid. But to find yourself so stuffed and so full that you literally, when you know what I'm talking about. Don't judge me, because some of y'all know what I'm talking about. When you go to burp, some of the food actually comes up. That kind of full at 5 years old. And I remember feeling that. And I remember my aunt looking at me, and she kind of gave me this disgusted look like, Lee, you better slow down. She is like, girl, you're going to be big as a house. And that statement she made just kept replaying in my mind, but my mom just told me this. But she just said, I need to slow down. Is it something that I'm doing that is not okay? Big as a house? Whew, 5-year-old thinking, a house is big. Something's not right. So I go to my mom and I ask her, I said, Mom, am I big? And she's like, no. So already as a 5-year-old, I was starting to have these, I don't even know what you would call it, these questions about my weight, and being able to look at the society and the people around me and recognize that something was not right. But yet, why is it that it seems like everybody else is ignoring the very visible fact that everybody was huge. Okay, my husband always gets on me. Don't say everybody, always, stuff like, look, a lot of people was huge, okay? And that just kind of began putting me on this journey of recognizing that something was not right. Fast forward a few years, now I'm in middle school and stuff like that. Mom is still kind of struggling with her weight, but it was never really her talking about diets or anything like that. I just noticed that as time was going on, that she was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I noticed that so many people in my family, the same thing. And it was so crazy. You know what I'm talking about. You're going to relate to this. You know how you can look at the picture of like, you're looking at your family album when people first get married. And then you look at them now and you're like, Mom, that's you? That's you, Mom? Oh my gosh. Or Dad or Pop, or that's Uncle Jimmy. Crazy. I mean, so transformative that it doesn't even look like it's the same person. Like if it wasn't for that little spark in Uncle Jimmy's eyes, you wouldn't even recognize that was Uncle Jimmy. Like crazy. Why? Just because you grow up, why does it have to look like that? Why do you have to experience that? It was sickness and canes and diseases and cancer and heart disease. And you know what I'm saying? Like the number one killer today is no longer just heart disease or cancer. Or the number one killer is obesity, heart disease, cancer, all of these other ailments, the high blood pressure, all these other ailments that we experience are from obesity 9 out of 10 times. And even if you skinny fat, when people call you skinny and you're like, okay, just because I'm skinny, I'm not going to experience any health problems. Like you could be fat on the inside. So do you have a lot of fat around your heart? You have a lot of fat around your stomach. Like it determines the way that you live out your life. And so, ladies and gentlemen, real talk, just because now we are pasting stuff up and we're wearing spandex and girdles, and even men are wearing that stuff now. Just because we're wearing that stuff and we look good with our clothes on, it does not mean that everything looks the same way on the inside of your body. Can you put a girdle on your heart? Can you put a girdle on your arteries? And just because you going out and you know how to beautify this thing. Okay, let me remind it. Okay, I'm not being harsh. I'm just being real. And I'm being real because I love you. And if you don't hear it from me and you're not believing it from yourself, then who will you believe? I feel like it is my moral responsibility to bring some things to light to you. And you know what? Over these next 21 days, that is my commitment to you, to bring you some health tips, debunk some of these myths. Thinking about the whole butter diet, like grapefruit diet, this diet, that diet. I mean, we can go here and make a whole rap song of all the diets that's out there. Seriously, when does it stop? When does it stop? When can you live your life with vitality? When can you live your life the way that you felt when you were 20? Now you in your 50s, 60s, 40s, whatever, and now you're dealing with all the aches and pains, arthritis, even your teenagers with all the acne and all that stuff. What if I told you that all of that stuff is preventable? Lisa, you lying. I'm not lying. Lily, you lying. I'm not lying. But the sad thing is there's some people out there that have been lying to you. And truth be told, you may really enjoy the lies because it just further encourages your bad behavior. No longer will you be able to say, well, I didn't know. Or, you know what, I'm just doing the best that I can. I remember being in elementary school and this is so funny. My dad is so precious. I love him. Oh, my goodness. The best dad in the world. He takes me to Burger King. And I just remember going through the drive-thru and him asking me, what do you want? I see what he orders and I say, oh, I want what you ordered. Lee, you are not going to eat that. Yes, I am going to eat that. Order me a Whopper too. I want a Whopper combo. An extra large that, as a matter of fact. And he did. He said, okay, he made a bet with me. I bet you're not going to eat all of this. And I'm looking at him like, I bet I am. not elementary, probably like 7, 6. We get the food. I smash it. I mean, not a fry left, and drank the soda, everything. And guess what? There was still this little thing inside of me that like still made me want more. Like I probably could have kept pushing myself and wanting more. And it wasn't until later on in life when I started kind of exploring, especially as a health professional, exploring about nutrition and realizing even in my nursing class, I think I may have had one nutrition class. A lot of medical doctors, they get like 1 or 2 nutrition classes, but yet they're diagnosing these diseases and they're expected to give you a solution to your situations. But the solution is always pill solutions. You know, do this, do that. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the doctors with my dad or my mom or my grandmom, because, you know, we take care of our grandmom. And I just to pick fun, I'm like, you know, they diagnose her, hey, you got diabetes, high blood pressure or whatever. And I go, oh, okay. So this pill will help it. And then they're like, yeah, she'll be on this pill for the rest of her life, but it'll manage it. My mom's like, cool. I can still eat my fried catfish. Like, that's all I gotta do is take a pill and I'm gonna live. Cool. Right? And so I'm thinking like, you said rest of her life. Is there anything she can do, maybe diet wise, that could possibly help her? Well, you know, once you have it, you have it. So, I mean, I would just say everything in moderation. Enough about that, okay? Because we're going to dive into some more of that with this 21-day challenge. All right. But let me just tell you, I am a plant-based, whole foods plant-based nutritionist. And I kind of stumbled upon it. I was working at a particular organization and I had to just randomly get some CEUs. Now, mind you, I'm kind of jumping back and forth, but over the course of time, I ended up moving with my dad, and my dad was not that great of a cook. And so I went from eating all that fried, rich Southern food to kind of barely eating at all. I guess I just like unintentionally became like a faster because I would eat maybe like once or twice a day. So naturally being involved in sports now and not eating those rich foods and then kind of barely eating, it was almost like kind of starving a little bit, just to be honest, which was not a healthy thing. But it kind of got me on this track now of really at least being conscious of what I'm eating, how I feel. Why is it that I feel like I have more energy and like I don't have all the weight that I could not get off of me as a child, even though I was now in high school? And then, you know, going into college, I majored in exercise and sports science, became a registered nurse, have minors, you know, in nutrition and stuff like that. It just took me further down this path of, just to be honest, confusion. Because I'm reading this, I'm looking at this research. This research says completely different from this research. And then come to find out, these researchers were paid by this company to convince you that what they're selling is healthy, even though the real research proves that it's not. What? Okay, just breaking that down to you right now, I feel like I need a nap. Are you serious? Like, my brain is hurting. So back to what I was saying, how I even came across this plant-based whole food nutrition. I had to get some CEUs, and that's continuing education to keep my nursing license. And so I love nutrition. So I'm like, you know what? I'm randomly Googling and I find Dr. Campbell's plant-based nutrition course. I'm like, oh, okay, let me just see what this is all about. It changed my life. It changed my life because the research was so intense, so mind-blowing that I literally rallied all of my kids, my husband, professional football player husband, and we all just dived in just as an experiment. And over the course of a couple of months, turned into a year, started feeling really great, turned into 2 years, and now here we are like 13 years later, feeling great. When I tell you, my husband, as a professional football player, the only thing he used to always ask me is you know what I'm about to say, how I'm going to get my protein, because he was big, thick. I mean, neck like this huge, you know what I'm saying? So I can understand why that's a big deal. You don't work this hard to keep these muscles for them to melt away, right? So the first thing that we learned about was protein and how vegetables have just as much protein as a lot of the meats without all of the cholesterol and all of the poisons in them, So I'm not getting on here. If you eat meat, I'm not coming on here to condemn you or anything like that. But what I want to do is help change a perspective for you where maybe you just say to yourself, I want to add more fruits and vegetables. So come and join me on this 21-day challenge where every day we meet each other, yourself and Lily, and we just dive into a challenge that you can follow based off of a myth that I uncover and to help you understand what really is the truth about this. This is going to rock you. This is going to bless your world. So just stay tuned, subscribe, join this journey, and I guarantee you that your life is going to change. And it's going to change for the betterment to better you and to better those around you. Because you are no good for someone else if you're not here, which I have clearly just experienced over the last several years of losing so many people that I love. That does not have to be you. You can live and live with vitality. Now, nobody can determine the time and the day where you will meet your creator. But what you have control over is how that time is going to be while you're here. Are you going to be sick, experience chronic conditions, and just live through it until the Lord takes you home? Or do you want to be full of energy and slim and keeping your weight the way that it naturally should be? And not have to do this battle and this dance and this struggle with your weight. And not have to measure your food. Like, who does that? I mean, okay, I'm sorry. If you do that, forgive me. I'm not trying to rock your world. I'm not trying to put you down, but that is a mess. That's what it is, a mess. Who is measuring their, counting their macros and micros and who does that? It's probably you, and I love you still. But just come on and join me on this journey. You will not be disappointed. I love you, and I hope, that you have gotten to know me just a little bit better, and over these next 21 days, you'll get a chance to know me even better. So again, your girl Lily says, I will see you next time, and remember, you can live life for purpose, on purpose.